This is Cliff Brooks with National Lien Law, and today we are going to be talking about how to file a New York mechanics lien. We have a lot to cover, so let's get started. Now, as far as pre-lien notices, in most states these are required, but believe it or not, in New York there is no such thing as a pre-lien notice, and that applies to either a general contractor, a sub, or a supplier. However, many people still like to use what is called a notice of intent to lien, which is a 10-day demand letter, and even though it's a popular form, it's not required by New York statutes. As far as the effect of the lien, as is well known, a mechanics lien is a powerful device because it stops the sale or refinance of the property until you are paid, and you don't have to give a copy to the title or escrow company or even to the realtor selling the property because it will pop up automatically in any title search. Now, as far as who can file a New York mechanics lien, the legislature has opened the doors wide open and allows a lien for almost any person who contributes labor, equipment, or material that is used, consumed, or incorporated into the project and permanently improves same. So if you have a contract to improve something and not just maintain or repair something, you can have a lien. For example, if you're only replacing fluorescent lighting in the hallways of an apartment complex, replacement alone is not an improvement. But if in the process you are replacing and reinstalling some of the defective lighting boxes, it would be lienable. Or if you are a landscape company and simply mowing, watering, and fertilizing the plant material, this is not lienable. But if you file a lien for the initial planting, installing an irrigation system, or retaining walls, you would be okay. Unlike the Federal Miller Act projects where only first and second tier subcontractors can file a claim, you can literally be a sub in New York at any tier and get a mechanics lien. But you cannot be a material supplier to another material supplier. For example, a manufacturer of material supplying it to a wholesaler or supply house, the supply house gets a lien, but if you're providing materials to another material supplier, you don't get a lien. Now remember, the lien is only against the owner's interest. The lien is not against the interest of the general contractor or his or her property. And for tenant improvement work, your lien is against the long-term tenant's interest. This consists of the value of the lease and trade fixtures. Technically, on foreclosure, the trade fixtures can be sold off and removed from the property as long as it does not cause material damage. You can also file a lien whether you have a verbal or a written contract, because the statute of frauds, which requires certain contracts to be in writing, does not apply to our case of construction. And the Uniform Commercial Code is also inapplicable because you are providing construction services and not simply goods. In other words, you are providing both materials and labor. But if you are solely a material or equipment supplier, the UCC does apply, and your contract or purchase order should be in writing if it is in excess of $500. There's a big exception for residential projects. This state requires a written home improvement contract that has special provisions, so remember that. If not, you will not be able to record, collect, or enforce your lien. Now let's talk about change orders. Include in your mechanics lien the amount of any unpaid change orders, whether signed or not. If you've been directed to do the work and do so, that is sufficient for your lien. As we all know, it is common for architects, construction managers, and other representatives to tell you to do the work, promise to sign a change order, but it never comes. In the meantime, you have performed the services and relied upon those representations. Many contracts say you do not get a change order unless reduced to writing. However, under the principles of waiver and estoppel, if you are directed to do the work and the other side refuses to sign, you can lien for that amount. As far as the amount of a lien, you get the amount of the labor, materials, and equipment actually furnished up until the time of the lien, but not future work you have not yet performed. So if you have been terminated, you don't get the balance of the contract or lost profits. You only get what you have conferred thus far, even if you have been wrongfully terminated. As far as punch lists, the other side can only withhold under industry standards 1.5 times the actual cost to complete the work, nothing more. The lien amount can only be for the principal, I should say raw principal owed, but when you go to court with a lien foreclosure lawsuit, you also get finance charges and prejudgment interest as well as court costs and attorney's fees. So the lien itself should only have the principal amount and should have the phrase, in addition, prejudgment interest, court costs, and attorney's fees, according to proof at trial. In New York, you file and record your mechanics lien within 8 months of completion of the overall project for commercial work and 4 months for residential work. It will be extended for change orders and any additional work under your contract, no matter how small the amount. But it is not extended for warranty or callback provisions. In other words, going back and correcting what you've already done. You file and record your lien in the clerk's office in the county where the project is located. You can hand carry it in or mail it. Anyone in your office can sign. National lien law is yet to find a situation where they will reject it, depending upon who signs it. Now, as far as serving it, in this state, you can serve the lien by certified mail, although not required. Some people actually, after receiving back a stamped copy, follow up by sending this by regular mail, showing it has been recorded. The lien must be verified under penalty of perjury, the contents are true, and the signatures must be notarized. The notary, by the way, can be in any state. As far as the contents, New York statute requires you use the correct form with the required information. If not, the lien will be invalid. That's why it's important to either download one of our forms on national lien law for $55 or have us prepare and file and serve it for $3.95. As far as who you serve the owner and general contractor if you're a sub. Although not required, you can also serve other persons, including a title company or a realtor. The lien can only be filed against private property as opposed to public works, although there is a special provision in New York about public projects, and you can call us and we'll explain that. As far as priority, your lien will be behind any recorded mortgages. The exception is if the project is started by any contractor before the recording of a mortgage. Then, under the relation back theory, your later filed lien has priority over the mortgage. As far as the lawsuit to foreclose the mechanics lien, as you know, the lien has a limited shelf life, so you have to bring a lawsuit to foreclose within 1 year of recording. Well, thank you for paying attention. If you have any further questions, you can call us at 800-995-9434, extension 1, and we give initial free consultation. Thank you for joining us.